Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my presentation. My name is Risal Chowdhury, and today I'm going to be looking at two laws from Thailand that Canadian firms should consider before they move to Thailand. So, before we get into the details of what the two laws are, I would like to give you a brief synopsis of what Thailand is. Now, legally, Thailand is known as the Kingdom of Thailand and is located in Southeast Asia. Now, it's considered one of the top hotspots for tourists all over the globe. And I personally have been there 5 times, and I've seen so many international brands, starting from Nike, Gucci, McDonald's, Starbucks, even Tim Hortons, even though they have 10 locations. Thailand has a strong presence of foreign companies. The company touts a GDP of over USD 500 million, and its main capital is Bangkok. Now, the city is a vibrant city that offers everything from city skyscrapers to bustling street markets, along with a vibrant nightlife that is unmatched. The key sectors of Thailand's economy include manufacturing, tourism, agricultural, and services. So let's take a look at what those two laws are. The first is the Foreign Business Act (FBA) law that has been put in place by regulatory authorities in Thailand for foreign businesses. Now, as I've mentioned before, that Thailand has so many foreign companies operating in Thailand, and every single year, hundreds more open every single day, as Thailand is a booming South Asian market. And it is very attractive for foreign investors to invest in the market where they can have access to tourists from all over the globe, where they're willing to spend currency on products, starting from luxury to even the bare minimum. Now, due to such a strong presence of foreign companies in Thailand, the regulators in Thailand have enforced a key legislation which regulates foreign investment and encourages firms to invest in Thailand. Now, one of the key objectives of this legislation is to attract investment from overseas firms while at the same time safeguarding local industries. Now, how do they do that? So essentially, this act uh, breaks down breaks down companies into three lists or three tiers. The first one being list one, which adds for a prohibition for all foreigners from operating, all foreign companies from operating in Thailand. This is due to national security or national safety or interest concerns that have been raised. The second list is these companies will require some sort of permission from the Director General of Department of Business Development in Thailand. However, businesses that actually fall within this list must obtain a foreign business license, also known as an FBL. And this after even though this license must be obtained, there's also a restriction placed on the amount of shares that a foreign company can own in Thailand. This acts as a barrier so that whenever any foreign company invests in Thailand, the technology, the skills, the expertise, and all of those are actually transferred to the host country, along with investing in the local economy. In this way, the local employers know the new skills that are required, and they can further establish businesses in the country. And the last being list three, wherein no restrictions are placed and the foreign companies can act as all the local companies operating in Thailand, and they do not require any special permission. So how can this law be implemented for Canadian firms who want to invest in Thailand? Now, since this is a very key legislation for Thailand, for foreign businesses, Canadian firms must thoroughly take into consideration regarding the restrictions along with the policies that have been placed due to this act. If they do not conduct thorough analysis of the economic, legal, and political aspects, the firms have potential to fall into list one, which is something that I'm sure none of the foreign firms want to do. They would either want to fall within list two or three. Even if that's the case, that firms do fall within list two or three, the FDA, the Act, has also imposed financial conditions, meaning there must be a minimum level of financial conditions, prerequisites that must be met before they're allowed to operate. Apart from that, there has always been there has also been like an restriction on the amount of ownership that foreign companies can have in Thailand. So for these companies must thoroughly go through all of the policies implemented. Apart from that, even if they fall into list two, they must apply for the license from the Ministry of Commerce in Thailand. Now, as different businesses vary from the way they operate along with their internal policies, we cannot specifically say which companies fall into which list or tier. However, based on those internal policies, the firms can internally investigate which list they fall into and move accordingly. The second law that we're going to look at is the Trade Competition Act, also known as the TCA. The Trade Competition Act, also known as the TCA, was implemented in Thailand in 2017. This is also referred to as the competition law. It has been implemented to promote fair competition and deter anti-competitive practices from taking place in the marketplace. That is Thailand. Apart from that, this law also aims to protect the customers from anti-competitive behaviors in the marketplace. All of this combined together advocates for innovation and leads for efficiency in the marketplace so that the consumers aren't losing out from any kind of anti-competitive behaviors. So this act is actually governed by the Office of Trade Competition Commission, OTTC, and this authority has the power to probe or look into or even investigate any behavior that seems to go against their policies. Now, since this is a regulatory body and this is governed by the government of Thailand, they can look into any companies based on what they feel is anti-competitive, and they do not need to actually give any sort of warning regarding their investigations. Apart from that, any kind of mergers and acquisitions are also looked over by this authority so that none of the mergers lead to any sort of issues for the consumers in the industry, in the market. Apart from that, the TCA has also implemented a leniency program. Now, what this leniency program allows for firms to do is, in case of any sort of breach of policies, firms can self-report the breach, which might lead to them receiving less fines and penalties from the prosecution. So, how can this second law be implemented? Now, Canadian firms that are hoping to move or enter into the Thailand market must take TCA's policies and all of the laws placed by the authority into strong consideration. As if any of those aspects seem to breach the policies placed forward by TCA, they have they have obviously they have a problem of facing penalties. They might also be stopped from completely operating in the Thailand market. Therefore, businesses have to assess their own internal policies and ensure that they're fully compliant. And if they are not fully compliant, they have to take necessary steps to ensure that they are able to abide by the policies. So, in order to do this, Canadian firms can actually implement a competition compliance program, which will provide them with a basic framework. What this framework will allow for them to do is look into various policies and look if they align with their own policies. If they do not, they review it. They look at changes that could be brought, along with keeping an update on changes that are brought to the TCA regularly. Um, Lastly, uh, all of these factors should be regularly monitored so that any breach can be identified from prior and it can be mitigated before it has the potential to cause any issues. That being said, let's look at some of the top Canadian firms that are operating in Thailand. One of the top firms is Scotiabank. We're all aware of Scotiabank. We use Scotiabank, and it is referred to as one of the top banking banks in Canada. Second is McCain Foods. McCain Foods, I'm sure we're all familiar with them too. They offer all sorts of frozen foods. Um, Third is Bombardier. So they're a global transportation company. Fourth is a financial company. Fifth is Canfor Corporation. Sixth is Magna International, which is an automotive company, and seventh is Tim Hortons. Now, I would have to put Tim Hortons somewhere in the top, but Tim Hortons is actually not operating too well in Canada, too well in Thailand due to certain issues that they're facing, and they cannot even compete with Starbucks. Tim Hortons only has about 10 branches all over Thailand, whereas Starbucks has almost 10 times that amount. These are a list of all the references that I've used to conduct this study. Thank you everyone for your time and for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you found it very informative. Looking forward to seeing you all in class.